Now this is freak out. This is the stuff you're gonna say, what? Another name? Right now, you have a human identity. You should take this and note, yeah, as it is. Okay. Consciousness, soul or karmic level, experience or wisdom level, experience, mental, emotional, vital, and physical. Different levels of density along the scale of your unique, united, single body. Okay? And the lower end of that uses up over time through natural forces, dies, fades away while you reproduce another one. Using nature as a tool. You get another body, okay? Created by some other people, parents. This is your human identity, mostly built of physical experience. Your level of health in life, the emotion you got, and your thoughts, okay? But even at the level of thoughts, you still can't see, even though there's a lot of stuff mentally there, your human identity is mostly built of lower human experiences, okay? You have a soul that is not encased in identity, but still has individuality, like a standalone pocket of consciousness. So I could have drawn this only with dots, okay? Because you don't really know that. And this is not identity. This part of you doesn't feel separate from the rest of the universe. It simply doesn't care about anything else than this experience right now. This feels separate from the rest of the universe, okay? So, we have an identity that is useful for us to refer in the social world. You're not, hey, you, the other human. You're, hey, Jerry. So my human name is François Lépine. Doesn't matter. You got yours. Don't take all this and note. Put your name. My soul name, Maha Vajra. This is the experience of how divinity wanted. Okay? So, to operate here, this is the mind-boggling part. To operate here, you need an identity that will conceive how to operate this level of density of matter and consciousness. Your identity is useful, but it's also preventing you from being conscious of higher self. And it also prevents you from operating this level of consciousness, because your identity is pulling you to exist in a physical fashion. You understand this? So you have a social name. You have a soul name, which is not identity. In our identity, we already have multiple personalities. Okay? We have this, everyone. And there's a mother personality. I'm going to take an example. How much what we conceive as to be our identity has an influence in our existence, even at a physical level. A doctor that I forgot the name at Yale University, he's a shrink. Roberta, what's the real name of your profession? Shrink?
No, psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist, okay. This great psychiatrist, thank you. I was actually insulting you to see your reaction. And you smile, I like it. This great and wonderful dude experience multiple personality people. And take blood samples and urine tests and take pictures and he experiences stuff. And he falls upon a subject with two very distinct personalities. And the most wonderful thing about this subject is that one personality has blue eyes and is diabetic, and the other one has brown eyes and is not diabetic. And when the personality shifts, eyes go from blue to brown, and diabetes, insulin, rearranges itself to be perfectly functioning. Because it's in the mind. That's scientific proof that whatever you define yourself to be is what you are. All right? You know yourself as not a telepath. You know yourself as a limited human encased in a body of flesh that you cannot get out. You know yourself as this and that. You can take a whole lot of time to refine your identity, to know that it is not a limited experience, simply localized experience, but still free. But that would take a while, and you would be fighting with the existing conditioning that you re-support each day when you pay your bills, when you go to the bank, when you're convinced that money exists, and nothing in your experience tells you that you are unlimited and made of consciousness. So we take another option. We fool the system. All right? We are going to play at creating a new identity that will exist here. So before you start thinking that this stands for a motherfucker, I'm going to tell you this means mystic form. All right? Your mystic form is mostly mental and emotional, extends to experience and vital, is not physical. So when you are physically acting, it is ID. Right? But you are going to build yourself a personality that you will control and master. So you can start existing as an emotional, experiential, and vital entity, not limited in a body, and through this new ID, this new set of rules, this new kit of preferences, this new form, you will be able to roam about the spiritual and astral world. It will be a vehicle that will allow you to greatly enhance your mystical experiences, because this new identity is not bounded by physical laws. Although this form is not capable of interacting with a physical realm, it's not made of physical interaction, you'd have to refine your ID to do that. You will be able to consciously exist without physical bonds and operate in the mystical world. Alright? It's a new ID, so you're gonna have a third name, okay? You have your social name, your soul name. Now you're gonna have a mystic form that will have a name, size, shape, color, product sentence. It has to be humanoid. It has to be a human. Okay? There's a greater mystic form that extends from here to here. That's another thing. Then you take a mystical animal. My greater form is a Ruang dragon, mystic great diamond dragon in the Oriental style. That's one thing. Some people saw the sandblasting effect of the breath of this guy. No? Oh, it was in last week in another seminar. So this mystic form, let's just start with this one, okay? You will give yourself a name. Start with English. Later, you find the Sanskrit translation or the Hebrew translation to the form you want to give, for the name you want to give. So my mystic form, I'm going to take my form as an example. And then, who's got a mystic form fully charged? Yeah, none of you guys are mystic knights much. You understand this? You got one? No. It's not charged. Okay. I'm going to take Simon's example, okay?
Well, it's not charging.
It's not charged, but at least you.
I was supposed to remind you about the mystic root.
Doing that? Thank you. Okay, so me actually doing the thing reminded you that you should have reminded me to do that. Okay. Thank you for reminding me. But the reason I didn't pick you on this is that you manage so many other things. I said, like, there's so much that fits in one box. All right. So we're going to continue what we were supposed to do, which is speak of the mystic form. Okay. My mystic form starts with imagination until I want to invoke it and embody it. And those who feel chi will feel the vital energy of me change. And those who see the astral realm will see the new form. And she saw one of my form, because you can have like 10 of that, okay? But usually you take one, and when you master that, you create another form which is expanded on the first one. And this is for very later on, and mostly useful for spellcasters and stuff like that, okay? But for just the common folk, what we're going to do is just teach you that you consciously fabricated this ID. We're going to have you make another ID to prove yourself that the first one was also made by consciousnness, and you're not binded in that. So you will be able to free yourself from identity. Okay? We're going to give you the tools to create for yourself an identity, and you will free yourself from the one you're convinced that you are absolutely binded to. Because you're gonna create, you're gonna have experience of, oh, so that's how my first identity came to be. But if I explain to you intellectually, you won't get it. You'll just think about it. You need to do it, and you will experience it, and you'll feel how the consciousness adapted to the first identity while you do it with the second one. And you say, oh, so that's how I did it. So actually, now I know myself as the creator of this human and not the slave of the conditioning of society. Okay? My mystic form is made from experience, thought, emotion, and will. Vital. Wanting it. Okay? So you first start with the English wording. Don't be afraid. I'm the most freaked out mystic form out there. My English base was severe justice. Okay? You can take something like loving gaze at the moon. You can do that, okay? You should. Okay? Twinkling star, that's perfect. Okay? So I took severe justice because I'm not afraid of suffering. Don't do this kind of thing if you're not ready to face your new identity. Okay? This one was shepherd wolf. Yeah? So shepherd wolf, it's a shepherd and a wolf. And it conceives the peace of the guiding and the guided in a single entity. Okay? And as far as the wisdom, you just approach this guy, you feel the wisdom. Okay? He just doesn't really care about it, but it's there. Okay? Lots of people say, well, Simon's he's so easy he's so accessible, he's not arrogant, he's there. That's it. So that's wonderful. And his form is like this guy with the shepherd's stick and the great gown and the wolf skin. And he got his experience together to try to feel that, to feel himself as that. And start to name himself this way, not socially to your parents, to your people, to the bank, social ID, assume it. But when you're alone and you play with yourself, or when you address a mystic community, there's a mystic community of everyone who roam about the mystic world in this body consciously. And I'm even going to tell you how to go there, bind yourself to that level of experience, and interact with these guys. Okay? And today is the 21st, not the 21st, but the 21st of June, is the summer solstice, and the mystic knighthood, which is a little group of 300 something people, and lots of these have a very empowered mystical shape, and they go there to the mystic world in a place where mystic knights gather together to just feel together, and this empowers their mystic form, and then you can start using your tools. So my mystic form, severe justice, in Hebrew, Gevura Tzedek, in Sanskrit, Ketara Nyaya. Okay? So I have empowered Ketara Nyaya. I imagine myself, I'm going to pick something, well, I'm going to tell you what I chose. Traditional knight in armor. Knight in armor, silver armor, gold lining, big sword in right hand, shield on the left hand. The sword is violet base with flames of red coming out of it. And the blue shield, it's a mirror shield that hazes a little blue haze, and it's a mirror. And I called it the shield of justice. Again, Hatzedek. Okay, I gave it Hebrew name to my tools. So you give yourself a name with a set of clothing, and you have 2 or 3 tools that you also give names. Okay? Like my sword, it's a sword of justice. I called it Afizah. No, it's a sword of freedom, excuse me. I cut bonds and I free through that. I cut through illusions. Okay? It's the shield that's a shield of justice. What is a shield of justice? I conceived it at whatever comes to me goes back. So it'll be pure justice. So if you pray for me, why would you? But if you do, it's going to go back to you. And you're going to bless yourself. And if it's meant to affect me, it's going to go through and also go back to you. And if it's not meant to go through, you'll receive it tenfold. So people curse me sometimes. I mean, not my problem. Mystic form. Talk to the hand. Right? And the more I accepted what justice is at a spiritual level, which is, it's not punishment, it's learning opportunity, and freedom, and using a sword to cut away, now I conceive this shape. Okay? Make it simple. With experience, I have 2 big wings in the back, go like this and almost to the floor. And each of the components of my body have angels and archangels linked to them. And I made this very complex form. But I want you to start like I started, like anyone starts when creating a new identity as a mystic form. Simple clothing, simple shape, simple English name that you'll find the English or Hebrew translation if you want. Like EGOT, Proto-Celtic.
Yeah, it's Scandinavian.
Scandinavian wording, okay? People like Latin, use Latin words. You pick yourself a language and you do it. I like the Hebrew. I took the Hebrew and I adapted to Sanskrit for the Buddhists out there who want to understand. So take a few minutes and you're going to do role play, but you're really going to create that identity for real. And socially, you will be naturally using your social identity. But the moment you want to do something at this level, so it's not your soul, don't pick your soul name. That would be insulting yourself. Okay? Soul name is what you really are. This is an ID. Now we play, we take another name. And if you don't particularly find this interesting after today, you drop it. Okay? We're just going to play. We're just going to get an experience of how you create yourself a new form. Okay? And on the other planes, those who see auras or are clairvoyant will start to see these shapes. I mean, and she saw my face in this form, in Kataronyaya, and the other one, and she freaked out. Not fun. Because when I pick suffering of people, the scars appear. And it takes time for me to just regenerate a beautiful shape. Okay? So, take 5 minutes. You want to be an angel with a big dress with a mask? You want to be this or that? You want to be a healer in life, so you put yourself the garments of this great shaman because you're also linked to Native American or something. You want to pick something. And pick wonderful thing. If you want to be a great owl, you take that. In case you're going to take English wording with 2 components. Okay? Great owl, severe justice. One of them is primordial strength. That's another knight, that would mystic knighthood. Another person without this, another person without that. 2 words, English, that you'll find the meaning that later on. Okay? And you invent yourself a role-playing character. Okay? And you find yourself at least 2 tools. I took the typical sword and shield, but I got this guy with a shield and a lance, and I got this other guy with this and that, and he's got a stick to guide people, and I think a belt with vials and stuff for medicine. Anyway. So when you're done identifying the basics, name. It can be 2 English names that you'll translate. It can be a revelation. I want to be called Ashtara. Do that, okay? You get the name, you get the general shape, you got at least 2 tools. If you, like, one of the guys took 7, okay? Tara took 7 tools. It's going to take a whole length of time to empower that. Take 2 tools, okay? 1 garment of very refined or very basic. You're free, it's in your mind. And you stand and you feel it, and it will be a new temporary identity. But because the moment you're going to call yourself by your soul name, I'm Vajra, I'm socially known as François Lépine, bang, mystic form goes away, stored in consciousness. You want to summon your conscious mystic form? Geburat Sedek, wham, comes back again. Alright? So now you empower it, feel it, breathe it, will it, imagine it, and be in the emotional state that will be the cement and the stones that build the components that build this new mystic identity. And that will be a great protection. Even if your mystic form does not contain protection, it will be a great protection for you, because mystical forces will get to you and say, oh, that's not a normal human, that's a super being. It exists consciously in other realms. Okay? Let's do that. When you're ready, keep on thinking if you want, okay? And then go try out what you got, okay? So, I am severe justice, sword of freedom in my right hand, shield of justice in my left. My shield, my armor is the armor of the king of integrity. My wings are the wisdom of the moon and the sun. And you speak like this in your mind. And when you're done, when you really feel your tools and your things, eventually you're going to translate this in another language to dissociate from your normal ID. And you're going to repeat that in Hebrew or Sanskrit or Latin or whatever language you choose. Okay? This will be empowering you. Okay? Now do that for 5 to 10 minutes. Now, if you have your soul name, you say, I am. Soul, known as social ID. So, if you don't have your soul name, I am a soul, known as Harry McCoy. Okay? If you have your soul name, I am Maha Vajra, known as François Lépine. Do that and feel your mystic form just go back to the standby. Feel it go back to standby, not active. Okay? Usually say it 3 times and your mystic form is completely out. The consciousness is still there, but it's put back in the background. Like every time you built yourself a new identity and did not need it. When you're with your parents, you have the identity of a child. When you're with your friends, you have an identity of a friend. You behave completely differently. Okay? You always do this. You already do that. You only have a master identity because we call you the same way depending on which group you are. But with your parents, you're called by a certain name, and maybe by your friends, you're called by a nickname, and you really have two separate sets of identity, and one of them does not know he has to pay his bills, so you have this guy that doesn't care about his life until he comes back home. He says, oh yeah, I had to do that, and then becomes responsible, but his other personality is not. Okay? So these guys that seem to be extremely responsible and then go with the friends, lose everything, because with the friends they're only a being of instant pleasure. Okay? This is because there's a weakness in the mother personality that does not consolidate them all. Okay? But still just ID. So as you gain consciousness that you are soul, and you know yourself as different than your identity, now you will have a personality. Same way that when you use a Maha, you empower the energy in a Maha as much as in your soul. Whatever you put in your mystic form, it will be there. Breathe and relax. Now you will summon your mystic form, saying the name. Gefurat Sedek. I do it with one, but usually you'll need three to start feeling it. Because the mind will accept it, then the emotional body, and then the vital plane will start to feel your energy coming as this. Okay? And now you're in your mystical form. And you feel your human identity slightly disturbed. What? I'm not in control anymore? Who's got this feeling of uncertainty about this entire process? You got that? Because your human starts to see that it doesn't have control over you. And it's freaking out. It's okay. It is frightening to become someone else in such a short time period because you're consciously building it. Breathe. While seated, in your mind you'll be calling the name. I'll do it aloud so you know. But we'll be doing that. Get for it, sake. Do it, okay? And relax. And you feel your chi pattern just adapting to the new reality. You feel your new state. Breathe.
You change colors. You're usually golden when you do that. You turn very blue.
Yeah. Sphere blue around me. Details you don't need to know. When you got experience, you got 10 components in your shape. Start with 3, 4. Now, okay? I am Maha, Vajra, known as Francois Lépine. Get back to social identity. Mystic form goes somewhere. Non-shaped. It's not stored in a physical place. Goes to state of potential. Is not manifested anymore. Okay? You got that? You feel your change? On, off. You feel that? Okay? That's how easy it is. No. If you start empowering your tools to say each time I invoke myself or I summon my mystic form, meaning I will switch to the mystical state, and I have a staff of healing, then you do your Reiki. You got a mystical force tapping into the realm of experience that densifies healing forces stronger than if you say, I'm socially known as that and I'm doing Reiki. I'm a mystical being of great power and I'm doing Reiki. Okay? You're going to feel immediately whatever you want to do at the supernatural level, put on the mask. So you can have components in your mystic form of guidance and people will start to understand life better. I have a component of revelation. information just pops. How can I have this? I do have the experience of revelation, and I tuned into this to empower a component, which is the crown on my head, which is not physical but just the glowing. But that's a component of my mystical shape. So when I get there, people start to have revelations because I tune into this state of being and project it. With my sword of freedom, you are free from your conditioning. Receive revelation. That's it. Now, spring revelation starts to pop in. Let go of that. It's over. Okay? So that is one way that I have empowered myself to interact with the psychology of people and sometimes the vital body of people. But I have nothing about healing in my mystic shape. I'm not a healer. When I heal, I go to the God state, disregard all that, and alter nature. It takes a while before you can do this because you need to know yourself as divine, as a God, which is not common, really. So this way we create this so you start tapping in higher consciousness, and sometimes your identity will start to have soul level implication in that, and then consciousness directly interfacing with your mystical form, but you create it here. Alright? That was easy. So, for fun, we're going to take a few examples. Mystical name. All-pervading radiance. Garment or clothing.
Black Thompson.
Black Thompson. Tool.
But first, I am this translucent.
Glowing translucent. Nice shape.
Two tools. Incense.
Incense.
And some
And this. Okay. Mystical incense of never burning away. It probably never runs out, your incense? Ah, you see? Didn't thought about that.
has the properties of the
Has a property of perfume, all pervading. It's there, you feel it, but you just don't see it. This is perfume. Okay, that's the mystical symbolic of perfume. It's all pervading consciousness. So translucent, unseeable, that's, did you read the Diamond Sutra? Okay, but this is very undefined. I like that. It's not as blunt, as cruel as my shape. And mystic name.
Just as monkey.
Just as monkey. You look like a monkey. What's with the justice part? Ah, capitalizing on your experience as a lawyer. This is very good because your mystic shape will be empowered. Boom, like that. So easy. Garment.
Jumpsuit with a little scarf.
Yeah, monkey with a jumpsuit, more flexible. Seriously, you stay humanoid, but you can have traits of monkey, and it's okay. Some people have their mystic shape very empowered, and when it taps in, faces change. And when you got this guy who's a rat, supernatural being, and the nose changes dimension, and this scarcity, like, it's too difficult on the human, okay? But he empowers it so much that the face changes. So I love to just have my standard human face so no one knows when I'm mystically walking, conscious of self as mystic form. Okay? But you do what you want. Okay? You're free. Eventually, of course, at first, your face won't change. It's just the muscles changing. But I mean, seeing someone's nose extend and lift up, I mean, that's scary. Okay? That's very empowering. So be careful with that. It might happen. You know, when you're a kid, and you start, if you make faces, you gotta stay stuck like that. Maybe. Tool.
Short knife, stick.
Short knife and stick. Short knife for? You'll think about it? How about the stick?
You know, like,
Bring justice to people. Correct them.
I don't know, it's just the martial arts.
Okay,
Also,
so
the last two tools I studied.
oh, okay, so you like these tools. Then you're gonna give them purpose, because in mystic form, it's not I studied them. It's a purpose. So you have guidance with the sticks, dandavati, okay, and knife-like punishment, or karma strikes you without you knowing. So it's assassination tool. You find out. Don't play God. Respect nature, but I mean, you see, my sword is to cut attachment and cut through illusion, cut away the veil of illusion. Okay, so your knife can do something like cross dimensions and stuff like that. Okay, to monkey out of space-time. This is how people actually eventually do the shape-shifting. They've empowered a form and then they shift into it. Those who become tigers in South America, wolves in this area actually. Okay, Native Americans. For fun, mystic name.
Medicine woman.
Medicine woman, how wise. Garment.
It's a white tunic with a very colorful color.
Okay,
Belt.
tunic, color, belt, tools.
Tools. Very powerful powder.
Powder that will be empowered to sprinkle
Yes.
medicine.
Yes.
And another
The snake-like
staff,
staff.
like a snake-like scepter.
Yes.
Okay, for kundalini empowerment, like in the medicines thing. Okay, you see? So you have people giving ideas, and it's various. So each one have ideas of what they're going to do about this. So those who study Majutsu could imagine binding a Majutsu spell to a tool they have. So when they have their mystic form, you just imagine it, add it out, and now this acts like an amplifier through space-time, through the fabrics, to alter nature, and your spell is much more powerful. Okay?